From the previous kind of segment that we did, we're going to look at now the 10 players to watch out for this season in the Premier League. My name is Riaz Parker. This is 343. And we're going to be looking at, like I said, 10 players to look forward to this season. Who's going to kind of, we hope is going to kind of do well. There's been quite a few shouts already, but we're going to kind of just go through 10 players we've picked. We came up with this as a group, by the way, not one person alone. So if some of your favorite players aren't in here, it's not our fault. Blame them, this guy.
This is basically just a list that the Sportycast football team compiled together. It's a list of players that we think would be able to light up the Premier League next season, or I won't actually say light up the Premier League because that's putting unnecessary pressure on them, but it's players that we feel that they've reached that point while playing in the Premier League or while playing for specific clubs, that they've reached that place where they have to take the next step, and
they can push on now.
Just basically
have a standout season, basically.
Show off what they can do.
Yeah, 100%. And with that being said, we're going to start with where we ended, I guess, the last episode. And that is West Ham and Mohamed Kudus. AF, take us through this one, please.
Yeah, so, I mean, last season, it was already like, you could see what this guy is all about. His close control is amazing. The guy is skillful. He has crazy vision. And yeah, I definitely think that West Ham is building their team around him specifically. Yes, they have Jared Bowen. He's been there for a few seasons as well. Mikel Antonio. But I don't think any of those players has the order and the presence that Kudus has. Like, I'm just going to point out the game against Liverpool towards the end of last season, and literally every attack from West Ham came from him carrying the ball, whether it was him getting the ball or receiving the ball outside their own box and then just carrying it forward, making all of their key plays and everything came from him. So yeah, I think with the signings, the potential signings that West Ham is going to make this season, they're building it around him, and he's going to be extremely, extremely vital to what they need to achieve.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know what's happening with Paqueta as well. So that could be like kind of an issue.
Yeah, I think he's going back to Brazil because there's like a lifetime ban coming for him.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that is the case. But yeah, what a player. Mubin, we saw him like maybe not in a lot of goals and assists, but he did get some. But like just like I said, the presence and the kind of skill that he has, the close control that he has, it was unbelievable last season. What do we expect from him this season?
Yeah, I think he had a good season last season. I think he was altered. He got injured, if I'm not mistaken, sort of when he just started hitting this sort of a purple patch. And then he got injured and he came back, and sort of took him a while to get going again. So I think he'd want to hit the ground running come the start of the season. And I think we can expect a lot from him in terms of goals and assists. I think he's going to be a crucial member up front for West Ham this season. And I really like the look of him. And I'm going to put my head on the block and say if he has a standout season at West Ham, I don't think he stays there. I think there's a move for him somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good shot. I think he will move to a bigger club, especially if at West Ham he can be injury free and score all those goals and make these assists and actually just play well. Because I think he's going to be similar to kind of a player we're going to talk about later for their specific club, where they just have that kind of bigger club mentality at a small club where you can see that they're kind of bigger than the club already, even just one season in. You can see the skill that he has and the kind of just the way he puts himself about, even defensively, like not even just technically. He runs for the team, and he's kind of a team player that way. So yeah, I think he's going to be really, really good. Well, one for the fantasy team. I feel like most of these players that we're going to discuss is one for the fantasy team. But definitely Mohamed Kudus for the season is one to watch, especially for, I guess, if he stays injury free. And I want to, just before we move on to the next one, I want to kind of preface this by also saying that these are not in any order. We're just going with 10 players that we want to see, just in case you're wondering. So, because I'm going to be saying, like, the second person we are going to be talking about is one of my favorite players, I guess, and that's Kai Havertz. And I mean, I say he's one of my favorite players, tongue in cheek, because when he was at Chelsea, he was completely crap, and they bought him for so much money, and then Arsenal bought him for so much money, but somehow he fits the system so well. And I guess at Arsenal, they don't rely on one person to kind of bring, like the centre forward, to bring in the goals and the assists. They kind of, it's a team game, and they spread them out, the goals and assists, kind of through everyone. And he kind of works in that team, especially off the ball, where he'll chase and he will chase the whole game through. And I think that's kind of where his value is. But we saw glimpses of it last season, especially after they gave him that penalty. He kind of got it in his stride and started, I wouldn't say banging in goals, but putting in better performances overall, knowing what Arteta wants from him, things like that. So, AF, how many goals do you think we're going to see from him this season?
So I don't think he's going to be much of, well, I wouldn't say not much of a goal scorer. I would say he's not going to be racking up the goals as much as you might think, like you as in Diaz.
Oh, me.
Yeah, because it sounded like you were thinking that he's probably going to be scoring a lot of goals. I think Arsenal are still going to sign a striker this season. And I think when that happens, Kai Havertz will play a sort of secondary striker role, and I think that's where he works best. Yeah. I don't think Kai Havertz is an out-and-out striker. We've seen that last season, where just his vision, amazing, and he knows where the other players are all the time. And I've made it no secret of how much I like Kai Havertz, and it was my amazing juju that turned the tide for him after he signed that amazing boot deal.
Yeah.
You Arsenal fans, you can
get in on that later. Yeah, you need to get in on that.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think so we also need to like detach our thoughts about what is a good season for a player, what is a standout season for a player, because you don't need to score a lot of goals in order to have a standout season. And I think if Kai Havertz is vital and integral to a team in terms of assists, or even just assisting the assister, just like being that sort of like hub in the middle, that attacking hub. Yes, I know that Martin Odegaard is there and he's still going to have that role, but I mean, he won't be able to do it alone. And we know that Martin Odegaard is an amazing player. He is this creative player. But I think that Kai Havertz, he has something to prove, because people wrote him off quite early in his English career. And even though he had a stellar second half of the season last year, I feel like he's going to try to use the season to just prove a point, to say that 6-month stint of last season wasn't a fluke. He's going to want to show everybody that he's still a good, better than good player. And yeah, I think that he's going to be racking up some assists. He's just going to be like that vital player on the pitch. Yeah,
100%. Mubin, your thoughts on Kai Havertz for the season?
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a great season. I think also off the back of how he ended last season. I agree with Abe that he's not an out-and-out 9. Again, someone just to play behind the 9 in that creative role. And I think he's going to come away with far more assists than goals. I think if he gets 8 to 10 goals for the season, it's probably a good season for him. But I think his assist for Arsenal this season is what's gonna help them. Obviously, challenge again. Unlike the two of you, I wasn't a big fan when he moved to Chelsea. But watching him last season, I think he sort of found his own and maybe he understands his game a bit better now.
Well put.
So I think it's a big season coming up for him. And if he can contribute to the cause at Arsenal this season, then they most likely can win the title. Well, they should from the last 2 seasons that they've challenged. But I think he's going to play one of the core group of players that will play a pivotal role in them doing that.
Yeah, 100%. But with I guess it's going to be difficult to kind of see how Arsenal are going to kind of take that next step to getting, I guess, the title this season. But that's a bold statement there. I like it a lot. I want to move on swiftly to another person that who's kind of been around for a while, a season or two. And we've seen how good he has been in the Euros when he plays in a certain position and when the team plays a certain way. And now with Liverpool getting kind of on a slot in the mixer as the coach, maybe we'll see some of the star Cody Gakpo that we kind of expect to see. He's been good. Don't get me wrong. He's been good for Liverpool the past couple of seasons. But when he plays for the Dutch, it just seems like there's another level that he hasn't reached in the Premier League yet that he kind of has. Mubin, I'm going to come to you with this one. How do you feel like he's going to do this season?
I don't know. I need to check where Nikita is first before I get that. Again, someone who has a point to prove, I guess. Sort of been on and off last season. And I think, I don't know, I'm not sure what's happening with Nunez, but maybe if he gets sort of, if I'm not sure how you pronounce his manager's name, Sloth or Arne, I'll call him Arne. If he takes him by the shoulder and say, listen, you're going to be my 9, you're going to be my, left winger or right winger, and, I'm giving you X amount of games, or make the position yours. Let me see what you can do. Prove to me. That probably gives him a bit more confidence to say, what, he's going to get a prolonged run in the squad, in the team, in the starting 11, for him to show his mettle. So again, like I said in my opening statement, he has a lot of. It's a season to prove himself with Liverpool in the Premier League, and he can do it. I mean, we've seen him do it for the Netherlands, game in, game out. He's got proper quality. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will come from him having a good Euros tournament. Like, it wasn't a great tournament by any stretch of the imagination, but it was better than what Liverpool fans have seen over the past couple of seasons. And I'm going to go back to what Nikita said a couple of weeks ago on the pod, and that's that he's playing on the left wing. He's thriving on the left wing, and just give him a couple of games there. Like Jurgen Klopp should have just given him like a run of 5 or 6 games on that left wing. Let him just thrive with that confidence that he would build over there. And we saw what happened during the Euros. He was having the time of his life, and you could see that he was playing with freedom. The only downside over at Liverpool is what happens with Luis Diaz. Is he going to leave the club? Is he going to stay there? And I think as long as Luis Diaz is there, the the entire Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, they're gonna have to like share that spot, or Cody's gonna have to play through the middle. But the difference now is he has a Dutch manager, and I think he would identify that immediately. Whereas maybe Klopp wasn't really too open-minded about it. But yeah, I think he's going to have a good season. I think the fact that Arne Slot is there is going to change things a lot for him. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. I think also that it's very difficult because Luis Diaz can't play in the center, right? And I think that's kind of the main issue where they just go to with Cody Gakpo to kind of, I guess, slot in the middle, because that's where they can fit him in, because he's good enough to start for Liverpool. So because he's good enough to start, they have to put him in somewhere. They even played him in midfield at some points, which was ridiculous. I mean, the man scores so many goals for the Dutch and for Liverpool, and to slot him in the midfield makes no sense to me. So, but it's really difficult. I don't know, how they kind of would put them both in on the left wing. It's going to be, they have to sell Diaz, I guess, but we'll see how that goes for Liverpool towards that where the season starts, how they're going to set up under the new manager. The next player that we're going to be previewing is player number 4. Didn't really want to preview this fella because I don't know if he's going to get much minutes this season, but it's the future legend that he is, the future Spurs trophy winner, the future Spurs. I don't know how to load him any more than that, but it's Archie Gray. Archie Gray.
Well.
I'm very well. How are you? Are you okay?
Just checking.
Sorry, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what has happened in the past couple of seconds. But Archie Gray, hopefully he's going to get minutes this season from what I've seen from him so far. From our 2 preseason games we've played so far, and from his season at Leicester, from what I've been gathered from Leicester supporters, everything points to
Leeds.
The fact that this. Sorry.
Leeds. He came from Leeds.
I mean, sorry, Leeds. Sorry, Leicester. Leeds supporters. He looks very, very decent. He looks like a great 18-year-old. The issue that I have is that Spurs aren't going to win anything for the next 6 years, so he just needs to stay and hope for the best. Because we seem to be buying 18-year-olds for forever. We're just 18-year-olds coming in, and it seems that that's the way it's going to go. But he looks like a great signing, and I think that if he can get a bit of minutes this season, he'll be able to show kind of what he's about, especially in the way that Spurs play. I think that he'll be able to kind of. He's not going to contribute. I think he's a DM at the end of the day. I think he's a sitting midfielder. But yeah, I think you'll swap with Pedro Porro on the right back as well. So you'll play those 2 positions, and I think any minutes that he's going to get is going to be good for us going forward. And I think this could be a breakthrough season for him if he gets the minutes that I hope he's going to get, even though he's 18. But yeah, Mubin, anything to say about Archie for the season ahead?
Yeah, just something short. I think minutes will be important for him. Just to break into the squad, to get some minutes under his belt, maybe become, like you said, an understudy to Porro. But he can also, from what I understand, sort of play in the centre midfield. So if he gets some minutes off the bench, get some minutes under his belt, and I think that will stand him good, to build on his career.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually very excited about that. AF, anything about Archie?
Yeah. So when we previewed, or when we spoke about this transfer a few weeks ago, we actually just raved about the amount of talent that this kid has, and I don't think that we're going to be seeing as much of him as we think. Like you said, he's going to be playing an understudy to a lot of players. But I mean, come with the moment, or come with the time, come with the man. you never know. Anything is possible. We saw Kobe Mainu last season as an 18-year-old, and
true.
he made that position his own, and he went to the England team with the Euros, and he was one of their best players over there. So age is but a number, man. Like, I mean, if you're good enough, then you're old enough. Then like just give the kid a chance and let him play. I mean, he can play across like 3 or 4 different positions. So like, give him a go. I'm excited to see what this kid can actually do in the Premier League.
So am I. I must say. It's like you say, it's the minutes that counts. It's the minutes that count. So as long as he can get the minutes, that's I'll just be happy. So hopefully we'll be going in the right direction with this transfer, because he cost a hell of a lot of money at the end of the day. So we'll see how that goes. The next one we're going to do, AF, you can take it away.
Yeah, so the next one is a guy that I'm probably the president of the fan club in South Africa for this guy.
That's why I told you can take it.
Rasmus Højlund, my dude, my G. Like, he had a good start to life in England last season. He started off slow. He wasn't scoring in the Premier League. He was strictly a European specialist at the beginning, and then when the doors opened for him in the Premier League, the guy, I think he had like 7 in 7, if I'm not mistaken, and then he got injured for I think it was a 6 or 8 week period or something. He was out. So yeah, he came back and then he started struggling again. But then
nobody wanted to pass him the ball.
Exactly. But we don't speak about that player. And then towards the end of the season, the last few games, he started racking up some Premier League goals again. Actually, just like displaying his pace as well in those goals, his acceleration, and that's something that I'm quite excited to see more of this season. I know that we've signed Xerxes, who is a sort of a similar profile, and both of them will be vying for that number 9 spot. But also, Xerxes can play on the wing as well, so he's not held down to one position. But yeah, Højlund, I think this will be the season that he just kicks on. He has so much to show for what he can do. The guy's he's only 21 years old. And it's crazy to know how strong he is, and just like how lethal he is in front of goal, as we saw in those few games last season. So yeah, I definitely think he's one to watch. I'm curious to hear what Mubina has to say about this guy.
Yeah, I think it's a season where he has to show for United. For us to sort of stand up and say, you know what, we back, we can challenge, we can go head to head, toe to toe with, the big 4, the top 6, so to say. It's a season for him where he's got to grab goals. He's got to get into 2025 again. And yeah, like you said, it peeved me off so badly that there were games last season where he just wouldn't get fed the ball, and I just, for the life of me, couldn't understand it. That you have a guy up front who's fast, who's quick, who's physical, and he would just not get the ball. And so I hope that changes the season for him. I hope Ten Hag, obviously in his tactics and gameplay management, it gets said to the guys, that the ball must get played to this guy's feet. Whether it's something for him to run onto, something for him to attack on, or even if he just holds up play, because he's got the strength to hold it up, and obviously then involve the wide players in the attack. So very, very excited to see what can come from him, what he can produce this season. It's a big season for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he needs to get at least, let's say, I'll give him 15 goals. If he gets 15 goals, I think United do very well, top four even. If he gets 15 goals in the Premier League this season, so I think the goals that he's going to score are going to be the most important thing for his season moving forward. Onto the last five of the players now that we're going to go to. I'm going to stay with you, Mubin, because this player, he might be a Manchester United player by the end of the transfer window, I suppose. But Eberechi Eze is the next one we're going to look at. Mubin, how are you feeling about Eze moving forward for Crystal Palace without
again another standard player for Palace last season. Someone who showed his worth. Clinical finishing. He's got the prowess up front. And I'm surprised you said that he can end up at United, because I thought we were gonna go after Olise.
Yeah.
But it seems that wasn't the case. I don't think he comes to United. I think we've got enough firepower up front with what we have and with what we've signed. I think with him coming, it just adds more headache to a man that really doesn't have it to scratch. He either stays at Palace, which I doubt, or he moves, and I haven't really followed anything on his end, but greatly talented. And I think whichever team he does end up at, he lights that team up front anyway. So yeah, and the season again, sort of where he can sort of come into his own and grab the opportunity with both hands to prove himself and say, you know what, I am a world-class player.
Yeah, it's difficult to see where he's going to kind of fit in, because like you said, it's difficult for him to stay at Palace, but he has to move within the Premier League. And what is going to be a step up for him in the Premier League? Well, besides, I guess, let's go. Let's hear it.
I know what I was going to say.
No, there are two teams that's already fighting for his signature, and this was going to be something that I would have done next week on our transfer segment, but might as well just do it now. But yeah, City and Liverpool are fighting over his signature at the moment. He has a 60 mil release clause at Crystal Palace. So yeah, I think it's going to be between the two of them where he ends up. I think he would be wise to go to Liverpool instead, mainly because Arne Slot he's trying to build his own team now, and he's trying to create his own sort of system, and he's earmarked as one of those vital cogs in his machine. Whereas at City, you know that you are going to be on the bench every 3 or 4 games. You are not guaranteed to start every game, and I think he'd enjoy himself more going to Liverpool. Not that I want him to, not that I want Liverpool to get a player of his caliber, but yeah, I think like individually, I think for his own good, going to Liverpool would be the wiser option. But yeah, that 60 mil release clause, I think it expires at the end of August, if I remember correctly from what I've read.
Okay, but you say about like what's beneficial to him and what we'd be happy with. Do you think that he'd have a better season staying at Crystal Palace or actually moving to Liverpool if he had to move there?
So, do you think that his opportunity will be lost if he stays at Palace? And say for example, that relationship he shared with Olise was really good, and Olise is gone now, and there's nobody at Palace that he gets to share that relationship with. Whereas if he moves to Liverpool, he has the ability, or he has the opportunity to create relationships with Mo Salah. He has opportunities to create relationships with Cody Gakpo, and all of these like world-class players there as well. Not to say that Palace doesn't have any world-class players, but if you are looking for development as a player and you are widely or highly regarded by 2 top teams in English football, then the logical thing for me would be that you would at least take one of those two offers and just try to develop yourself as best as you can.
Yeah, I just want to see him play. That's my issue. Like, because if he goes, we've spoken about now Gakpo and Luis Diaz on the left hand side, and Eze is predominantly, I guess, a 10, but he plays off the left. So
He gets to be free at Palace. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Like, he has that free roaming sort of role, whereas we don't know what Arne Slot is going to do at Liverpool, and we don't know which players he's going to be able to give that that sort of free roaming ability to. But yeah, I mean, if Slot is earmarking him as a player that he really wants, then
hopefully he'll get to play in that 10 position, I guess, and not have to fight for the positions of off the left. But the next player that we're going to look at is a player that we kind of saw a little bit about last season, maybe like half a game before he got injured. And he looks to be a player. He actually looked to be Arteta's starting, because he started with him. He's starting left. Was it a left back? He started left back in that game, I think. Julian Timber, and because he's fit now, is he an automatic kind of starter, Mubin, for Arsenal and Arteta this season?
I don't know. It's a tricky question. I think Saliba and Gabriel was, I think they formed a formidable partnership over last season. So it's difficult to say. I don't know. Maybe he gets his chance first at left back, like you said. But again, you've still got Zinchenko there, so I don't know. I can't really give you an answer. I'm actually lost for words. Maybe AF can.
Yeah, no. So the thing is, I think Arteta is learning every season about what he needs to do to beat Manchester City, and he's going. It seems like he's going for more squad depth because now Calafiori's more or less on his way to Arsenal. We haven't gotten the year we go from Fabrizio, but I think it's just a matter of time. And Calafiori and Timber is a similar profile. They can both play centre back. They can both play left back. Yes, we know that Kibio is on his way out as well. So Calafiori is probably just sort of a replacement for Kibio. But yeah, I mean, then at left back, you'll have the options of Timber, of Calafiori, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu, who could play both on the right and the left flank. So it's more just about depth. But I think that Arteta is going to be rotating his players so much more this season. He was unlucky last season with Timber's injury. And I think if Timber stayed fit for the duration of the season, Arsenal would have won the league. I definitely think so. I think there's like the squad depth. I don't think people realize or understand how important squad depth is if you are playing in 4 different competitions.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, if Arsenal can keep their players fit and if Timber can actually have a full season behind him, then I think the possibilities are endless over there. But I think he's destined to have a great season for the Gunners.
I agree. But also, okay, so a last question before we move on for you, AF, is that out of the defenders for Arsenal, are you going to pick him for your fantasy team?
No, because I normally go for like attacking fullbacks, and yeah, like I would first need to see the type of system, like because knowing Arteta is probably going to be one of those inverted players coming into midfield, hardly giving the crosses in. So I would rather like try to target defenders who would be likely for assists.
Yeah, but he's going to keep clean sheets, though. That's the problem. Who's going to keep the clean sheets?
That is true.
But we want to move next to a youngster that also, I guess, similar to Archie Gray, we want to kind of see more of this season to see how he's going to play. And that's Oscar Bob for Manchester City. And This is a difficult one because while we want to see kind of how he goes this season, um, is it going to be like a Foden spec where he gets a few minutes here and a few minutes there, or do we think that he's going to start more? I don't think he started many games last season for Manchester City. I think he was mostly used as a super sub. So it's going to be interesting to see how Pep uses him. Like people were clamoring for Phil Foden when he was that young and he was showing promise. And Pep said that, look, I will integrate him the way that I want to integrate him. And he played 16 games of that season, and then 16 games of the following season, and then afterwards he started playing properly. So maybe this will be another kind of way where he comes off the bench. Is that how you see it moving, Mubin? Do you think it's just going to be he's going to be a bench player this season?
Yeah, I think predominantly a bench player coming off the bench. Again, getting maybe more minutes in what he got last season. I think the City squad is obviously it's they've got enough depth. So someone like Bob, he got a few games off the bench last season. I think he maybe played a couple of games in the Carabao Cup. So again, it's a matter of taking his opportunity when he gets on the field to show what he can prove, what he's got. And it's probably a season where I will make or break season for him and say, listen, do I stay at City or do I accept an offer that comes my way? Where I'm starting on the wing, or I'm starting through the center, which is where sort of he plays. So it's tough decisions for lads like this, not just at Man City, but at most of the top 6 clubs. Where they sort of find their way on the bench and they get a minute here or 5 minutes here or a run, in a Carabao Cup, but they don't sort of really make the starting 11 every week. Those players are few. Someone like Mainu as an example. So they quickly got to wake up and find not find out, but decide. Do they want to waste another, or not waste again? Do they want to compete for their position another 2 or 3 seasons at the club, or do they sign and move on to somewhere where they can sort of carve a career for themselves?
Yeah, and that's I mean, one perfect example of that is a young Cole Palmer who kind of decided to take the initiative on himself, say, I want regular minutes, and he left City, and look what he did last season. Yeah, exactly. But AF, your thoughts on Oscar Bob? How's he going to be this season? Do you think that he might end up taking a route like Cole Palmer?
I don't think so. So I think he's going to follow the same route that Phil Foden did. I think he's going to bide his time and just wait for his chance. I do think that he's going to get more minutes in the Premier League this season. I read last season, in his appearances last season, we saw glimpses of what he can do. I can't remember which team he scored that goal against. Was it Newcastle? That close control was insane, and he did it so quickly. I don't think anybody noticed what he did until after the goal, until we saw the replay. And I mean, it's glimpses like that shows the amount of talent that he has. And I remember last season, I think there was, I can't remember if it was a tweet or something, but and I don't know if it was Pep Guardiola who said this, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said something to the effect of Oscar Bob at his age is better than what Phil Foden was at his age.
Oh, I remember that actually, something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean we know how good Phil Foden is right now. So, I mean, to say something to that effect is crazy, and it shows how good this kid actually is. So, even if he wanted to go, I don't think Pep Guardiola would allow him to go. I think he would make sure to keep him and make sure to integrate him into the squad. as best as he can. There are a lot of superstars in that Man City team that would want to start, but I mean, everybody needs to work hard and train hard to basically earn themselves that spot. And we all know that the Guardiola roulette is a thing. So Ruben Diaz, he can start 1 week, but then he won't start for the next 3 games. And
still hurt
I mean,
from the fantasy league. I still hurt.
Yeah. So I mean, like, no play is safe over there. So if Oscar Bob decides to have some worldy performances in training, then maybe it's Phil Foden that would have to warm the bench for a bit, or Bernardo Silva, or Jack Grealish, or Jody Madaku. So yeah, I mean, this kid has bags of talent, and yeah, I think he's going to go the distance.
And the interesting thing to see is going to be what happens to him once Pep leaves at the end of the season. I think that's going to be super important. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. Mubin, I want you to take us through the next one, please. We have two players left that we're going to look at for the season. And Mubin, just take us quickly through Amad Diallo.
Yeah, I highly rate this guy. I'm super excited to see what he's gonna, or how he's gonna start the season. I mean, if he picks up from how he left off or ended last season, then it's only onwards and upwards for him.
He's better than Anthony, you think? Seriously?
It's not even a question, not even a doubt. For me, if you're playing in a position like we all know that's called a winger or out wide, if you cannot run at a defender or opposition player with the ball, then you shouldn't be in that position. And this guy is the epitome of what I'm talking about. He gets the ball and he runs at the defender, he takes the defenders on, and that's what you want to see. So super stoked and excited to see what he's going to produce this season, and just assist and help feed ball to Wayland up front. So yeah.
I think it's important that he's going to get. The important thing is that he gets some minutes as opposed to I guess Anthony and Rashford, even if he can get some minutes in there.
Yeah, just one quick thing from me before we move on to the next one, and that is Eric Ten Hag gave a sort of a presser, or I don't know what it was, after the game over the weekend, and he said that this is basically going to be Amad Diallo's season. He's reached that sort of level where he isn't really considered a kid anymore, and he just has to kick on and take the responsibility. And I think that's one of the best things that a player can hear from a coach, that he trusts him and he expects him to perform at that level. And I think all of us fans are feeling the same thing, and we're expecting the same thing from him. So yeah, I can't wait to see what this guy is going to do. I can't wait to see how he's going to light up the Premier League. I hope he stays fit. I hope he stays injury free. So yeah, we can just enjoy him as much as possible. But yeah, just to move on to our final player that we need to look out for this season, and that is Christopher Nkunku, who was mostly injured in his time at Chelsea up until the very end of last season. I think that this guy is crazy good. I think he is a phenomenal player. I think he's fantastic with the ball at his feet. He can play so many different roles. To some people, he's regarded as an attacking midfielder. To some people, he's regarded as a winger. To some people, he's regarded as a striker. And I mean, that just tells you all that you need to know about all the tools that this guy has in his armory. Riaz, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a pity that he hasn't been. He was injured for so long, because I think Chelsea also rate him very highly. I think he's got bags and bags of talent. He's going to be great to watch this season. I think he might be one for the fantasy league as well, just by the by, because I think that he's shown already in the glimpses that he's played how good he can really be, and he scores goals when he comes on. So yeah, I think he's going to be a great one to watch. Mubin, rounding off thoughts from you about Christopher Nkunku.
Yeah, it's obviously unlucky with his season last season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he got injured the first game or something of the season. and he was pretty much out for the whole season. He played the last couple of games. So, yeah, it's again, like I said, someone who can occupy any of the 3 or 4 spaces up front with ease. And I think he's got a lot of show.
Yeah, for sure. But also, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see as well the kind of how they use him. Because Chelsea, like we know, have a lot of like players at their disposal that are on long-term contracts, like we know. But yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see. I think he's going to be probably for me, out of the list that we had today, he's going to be probably have the biggest impact for their team this season. Especially after the ones we also didn't cover a lot. AF today we didn't go to Matoma. We didn't go to who else is there? I guess there's so many other people that we didn't talk about. Cole Palmer, as we said, Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah, the usual ones. Who Haaland as well. So many that we didn't cover. But yeah, for you guys at home, who do you think? Comment down below who wants to watch the season for your club and for other clubs. Who do you think is going to get like a golden boot? Who's going to be the star performer? Who's going to have their breakout season this season as well? Comment that down below. But yeah, that's going to be the end of our episode today. Thanks for watching. AF, where can people find you on socials?
Yeah, at AF Parker 642 everywhere. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be watching Olympic football at the moment, but I'm going to be watching other parts of the Olympics for sure. And
like what?
Yeah,
what's your favorite Olympic sport?
Athletics is always the winner for me. Like,
okay.
I just love the sprints. I love the relays. I love the long jump. So yeah, I'm all about the athletics.
We should have a Sportycast kind of sprint one day. Sportycast 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter. I don't think I can do more than 400 meters though. So,
dude, I will probably be somewhere at the end. Jason seems like a marathon runner. He seems like somebody that would be able to do maybe like a 800 meter easy.
No, so, look, we're not going so far. We're taking 400 and we're going home for some coffee after that. But please, you can follow me on Riaz Parker 7 on Instagram and at Parker_Riaz on Twitter. Please follow the channel at Sportycast on all social media platforms. Like, share, and subscribe to us. And I hope you enjoy our content. And yeah, comment down below. Like we said, we hope you enjoyed this episode of 343. And yeah, look forward to the next one. We'll see you guys.